talks about you, then you are nobody. Then you are nobody. Remember.
All is one reflections. All is one. As you come in, you can drop a pumpkin if you're feeling the Halloween spirit. Drop some skull emojis if you're in tune with the ancestors. Drop some tornadoes because it is Oshe Oya. And just say hey.
All is one reflections. I am Priestess Osun Funke, Iyanifa, and I'm so excited to be here as I fan myself with good air flowing across my face. Today is Oshe Oya. It could not be more perfect because today is also Halloween, part of the Ancestor Festival. And Oya is the mother of change. She is the air that we breathe, and she is the guardian of the ancestors. And so today is just a really exciting day for me. And we do an Oya event every Halloween. So we're just excited to be here with you guys today.
Yes, we are. And my name is Reverend Priestess Osun Kemibi Ifa Kemi. I am a proud goddaughter of Reverend Priestess Osun Funke Iyanifa, root doctor, biomedical health scientist, naturopathic practitioner, priestess, and everything you need to get mind, body, and soul. And we are so happy to help bring in the ancestor energy, to bring in this energy of transformation without resistance, okay? So we can get all of the positive blessings, all that good ashe, despite what's going on, because we know it's crazy out here in these political streets. We know it's nasty out here in these spiritual streets, but we know above all, we are covered and protected, and we are so glad to be in community with you guys to discuss what that really means for us, okay? So right now we will be basically discussing the metaphysics of transformation using the aspects of Oshe Oya. Reverend Priestess Osun Funke will be going more in detail into it. But for right now, I just want you guys to take notes. Those of you guys that will be participating in a ritual after this class, you definitely take notes, especially if you're in mentorship. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you want to get in on the ritual, you want to be in mentorship, go ahead and click the link that you see on the screen right now. Join learnorishahoodoo.com. It is also in the description. That way we can get you settled and have you all the way in here with us, okay? Because it's for free. So if you see what we do for free, just imagine we actually in the temple, all right? So yeah, we'll go ahead and kick it off and we will begin.
All right. All is one reflections. I am Reverend Priestess Osun Funke Iyanifa, and today is Oshe Oya. It is also Halloween. So we give thanks and praise on the alignment of the day. And it is my absolute pleasure to come to you today to talk about ancestors, the metaphysical law that governs transformation, Oya, and the winds of change. Tonight on Halloween, we stand between two worlds. On this day, the veil is thinner. And on this day, we remember that death is not an ending, but a continuation of life in a different form. The ancestors walk amongst us more freely now. The veil is thinner. The presence is thick in the air. Their wisdom is woven into our breath, and Oya is responsible for that breath. This is a night of remembrance, but it's also a night of renewal. We honor those that came before us, those who endured storms, crossings, captivities, so that we could inherit their breath, because energy is never destroyed, it only changes form. We can inherit their choices and the results of them, and we can inherit their consciousness. The same wind that carried their cries now carries our prayers. And it is that wind, the breath of Oya, that teaches us about movement, transformation, and release. Change is sacred technology. The ancestors show us that survival is actually a form of divinity, and that Oya reminds us that transformation is the only conscience. Oya reminds us that change is the only constant. Tonight, we give thanks for both the roots that hold us and the winds that move us forward. Oya is the mother of fire. No flames can exist without her winds. And our ancestors walked through fire. They walked through fires like the transatlantic slave trade, where they were carried across waters by force, stripped of everything they had ever known and loved, and then entered foreign lands where they were labeled property, where they were violated, where they were fetishized, cataloged, and commodified. They walked through fire. Fires like the brutality of chattel slavery and Jim Crow, where their bodies were worked, whipped, and wounded into the soil, and their humanity was denied by laws written to erase their spirit. They walked through fire. They walked through fires like the redlining of entire neighborhoods where Black families were boxed into ghettos that became food deserts. And then those same communities were blamed for the chronic illnesses that flowed through them. Things like heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, things that we still contend with today with all of our education and access. And our ancestors endured all of this while facing deliberate disparities in healthcare. They walked through fire. They walked through fire like the calculated insertion of narcotics into Black communities and the war on drugs that followed, where mothers were imprisoned and fathers disappeared, and children were born addicted, undereducated, and later written off by policy. Our ancestors walked through fire. They were made casualties of political aspirations of white men. They labored to build fortunes that they would never spend. They constructed homes and entire institutions using sacred Masonic knowledge, only to have those same systems turned against them and used to dominate and discipline them unjustly. Our ancestors walked through fire. And the rivers are littered with their bodies. The soil is saturated with their anguish, and the air still holds their prayers. The MC Most Def said, "Fools did unset." The MC Most Def said, "Fools did upset the old man river, made him carry slave ships, and fed him dead niggas." Yet through every era of destruction, our ancestors endured what we will never have to know. Still they survived. Still they whisper to us through our dreams and our rituals. Still they place their hands on our heads from the other side, especially now when the veil is thinnest. They guide us with everything that they have left. So we honor them tonight, and we honor the blueprint that they left inside us. Our connection to them makes life easier. We tap into their genius. Their lived experiences become our wisdom. Our ancestors have overcome so many hurdles. And with those victories encoded in our DNA, we are living proof that their prayers were not wasted. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 15 says, "That which is already been and what is to be has been already." This verse reminds us that The journey is not now. We are living in favor, we are living in grace, and we are protected based on the prayers of our grandmothers and their grandmothers. Y'all, I'm going to read that again because I think I mixed up the words. I'm sorry. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 15 says, "That which is has already been, and what is to be has already been." This verse reminds us that the journey is not new. We are living in favor, grace, and we are protected based on the prayers of our grandmothers and their grandmothers. You are not alone. You are covered by the sacrifices and surrounded by the presence of your ancestors. Ancestors grant favor, strategy, warning, and rest. They open doors and they whisper truth. And if we are still enough, we can hear it. Everything that you experience may have been initiated generations ago, and the love of our ancestors has no expiration date. As much as we inherit the strength of our ancestors and the blessings that they deposited in the ethers for us, we also inherit their burdens. Some of our ancestors never had the chance or the tools to release the trauma that they carried. One person in our bloodline may have experienced war and the loss that comes from it. And then their child may have experienced depression, and that depression might have led to a disorder like hoarding. The children of that person might live with anxiety and embarrassment. So trauma cycles through our bloodlines. It's given new names, new titles, and understandings. But a sore is still a sore, no matter what you call it. Pain becomes patterned. Unhealed wounds become family dynamics. And these patterns are actually assignments if you allow them to be. Now is the time to heal your bloodline. And healing yourself is how you actually heal your ancestors. Healing works forward and backward, but most importantly, it's impactful right now. You have been chosen to interrupt cycles. You have been chosen to find the strength, because you already have everything that you need, to find the strength to do so. And when you heal, you offer your ancestors freedom. Freedom from trauma, freedom from delay, and freedom from dis-ease. Change is divine instruction. It is movement from spirit. It is spiritual law and sacred assignment. Everything in creation moves. To live in alignment is to stay open to that movement. And the Orisha Oya brings necessary transformation. She is the divine technology of reordering, rebalancing, and redirecting. When she arrives, the season has changed. Her presence signals that it is time to let go of what no longer serves and embrace what needs to happen now. This is the law of rhythm at work. And this law teaches that life moves in cycles. Energy builds, it peaks, it recedes, and then it begins again. Nothing stays still. These cycles are sacred. When we stay in tune with the rhythm, we move with grace. When we cling to the old, we cause friction, and that causes delay. The law of correspondence teaches, as within, so The law of correspondence says, as within, so without. If your inner world is anxious, controlling, fearful, then your outer world is going to reflect that disharmony. When your internal space becomes calm and willing, your life will begin to soften, things will open up, and you will experience shift. The law of mentalism says that all change begins with your thought. Your perception, your willingness, and your belief shape how change unfolds within your life. When your mind is renewed, so will your life be. These laws instruct our lives. They explain how our rituals work. They explain why prayers move us, and why prayers move the way we experience things. Why healing often begins with release. Here's what you need to know. Change is sacred instruction from the divine. Romans 12, verse 2 says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Transformation is a requirement for elevation. Oya is the divine instrument of transition and movement. Change is a form of spiritual realignment. Divine movement arrives when the moment is right, not when it's convenient, not when you're ready. Spiritual growth requires participation in the movement of change. The winds of change arrive with purpose, and they also bring clarity. Attempts to control change often create unnecessary suffering. Isaiah 43, chapter 19 says, "Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Will you not see it?" Movement is a sign of alignment. Trusting is an act of surrender. Learn the art of allowing. Let the wind teach you instead of trying to resist it. You're better off standing in the eye of the storm, where it is calm, than outside of it, flailing in resistance. Trying to control the uncontrollable pulls you out of alignment. Choosing to trust over tension returns you to divine order. Let the wind work. Let it do what you prayed for. The wind carries away what is expired, and it brings in what is ripe, what you are ready for, whether you can see it or not, whether you know it or not, whether you are in agreement or not. The wind is wise. What falls apart was never stable in the first place, and what remains is the foundation that you will build from. Balance is a divine state, and alignment is how you get back to it. Let these teachings be your anchor when things shift. When the winds rise up in your life, recognize them as instruction. Be willing to move. Be willing to trust what is failing and also what is arriving. Welcome it. The winds don't come to destroy, they come to deliver. Be grateful and ready to receive. At this time, I'm going to ask you to make yourself ready to pray to Oya, the emissary of change. You can stand, You can get in a warrior pose. You can fall to your knees. Do what feels right. We're going to do this prayer to Oya. Oya Petu. Oya, make it easy. Cover me and protect me as I heal and grow beyond my ancestors' difficulty. Allow your winds of change to blow away every disrupting thing, seen and unseen, known and unknown. Blow them away from my path, Oya. At the same time, blow into my life healing and new opportunities. Let the trauma of my ancestors create caution so that I may avoid calamity and trouble. Let the delays of my ancestors lead to triumph over difficulty. Let their experiences heighten my awareness. Let their victories belong to my grandchildren's children. Oya, we give thanks and praise for the work that you do, breathing life into every living thing. Oya, we give thanks and praise for how you manage the marketplace, keeping energy and opportunity moving through it. Please let the winds of prestige and popularity in the marketplace blow in our favor always, Oya. We give thanks and praise to you, the guardian of our dearly departed, as they re-enter the spiritual realm. Escort them safely back to the loving arms of their ancestors. Oya, we give thanks and praise for your protection. The female leopard eating raw pepper, always aware, always watching, always restoring. We give thanks and praise to the mother of nine. No ending occurs without your participation. We ask that you bring all negativity to an end in our lives right now. We give thanks and praise to the mother of fire. The spark of inspiration is not lit without your presence. Let us be inspired to remember our purpose, and let us be protected as we pursue it. Oya, we give thanks and we give praise. Ashe. So that is my offering tonight for Oshe Oya. That is the script that I had prepared. I think I got through that reasonably. But what I want to say that's not scripted is that change is the only constant, my reflections. It's the only thing that you can count on. Living things change. Anything that isn't changing is dead, and change is often uncomfortable. You need to learn to love change. You need to know that nothing is ever happening to you, regardless of what it feels like. Everything that happens for you because you were not created to suffer, and you were not created to be destroyed. You were created to learn and to love and to evolve. Allow yourself to be changed. Allow yourself to become better. Don't be afraid of change. Oya is change. She is transformation. She doesn't leave things the same because that's not how God works. Oya is an emissary of change, a divine language that we must come to accept, and not begrudgingly accept it, but to submit willingly, because we know that everything that happens to us happens for us. The veil is thinner now. Today, tomorrow, this season. the veil is thinner. We can tap into ancestral wisdom. We can receive downloads and messages. We can more easily become our next best self in this season with the guidance of our ancestors, of whom Oya is the guardian. So let us give thanks and praise today for Oya and how she moves through our lives. Oya is movement. Oya is the wind. Let the winds of change move about you freely. Let them move through your house, through your relationship, through your business, through your finances, through your fitness plans, through anything that you've been set on. Let this be the season that you allow things to change, because you know that God moves through transformation. Allow yourself to be changed. Be renewed. Become better. Be healed. And that is the lecture. That's Oshe Oya. That's everything that I came to tell you today. I thank you so much for joining me. Peace and blessings. And I love y'all deep like the river.
If that blessed you in any way, shape, or form, if that really moved some things in your spirit, in your mind, in your body, in your soul, let us know in the comments. Like I said, we are going to go ahead and keep this energy flowing. I am going to just give a short little tidbit as well for Oya before we start our ritual back in the private community. But we did want to just open up this space for the public because it is so important to understand what it really means to, again, work with the forces of nature that are within and around you. And this holiday season, definitely Oya is one of the foundational energies in which that is relevant. So many examples were given, not just because of the ancestral current that Oya has, but the actual energy that she possesses of being the wind of change, not just around you, but also within your breath, right? So everybody just take a deep breath right now. Just inhale. Understand one of the most important and foundational aspects when learning, working, or dealing with the Orisha in any way, shape, or form is to know who they are at the most foundational level. And Oya is movement. Oya is oxygen. Oya is that breath of life. We know that within our practice, we don't necessarily personify any of the Orisha. So, Oshun is not just at the river handing out niggas, right? Oya is not this, woman in the sky, right? It's energy that we were working with, which is why Reverend Priestess Osun Funke listed out laws metaphysical laws that help you to understand this, the force of transformation, the breath of change. Okay, so understand at the biological level, when we speak about Oya energy, when we speak about inhaling, exhaling, we're also talking about, again, the transformation occurring in our body. So the oxygen within our blood, the life force that's flowing through every cell that's needed, right? So think about that when we are talking about moving with intention. Think about when we're talking about not being resistant, because those are also aspects that we must consider. When you inhale the oxygen, it flows into your lungs, it enters your bloodstream, it binds to your red blood cells, and it travels to every part of your body, your organs, your muscles, your cells, right? Again, that's that movement of Oya, that life-giving breath, sustaining, okay? So again, it's not just the wind that you feel outside of you. It's also the wind within you, the one that's connecting you to the divine and keeping you alive. Understand that when we are speaking about this, Job says it perfectly. The spirit of man has made me, and the breath of the Almighty give me life. That is the energy that we're focused on, that life bringing energy that's assisting with your movement, that's allowing things to occur, okay? Carrying the world where they need to go, to the marketplace, carrying vital energy to where it's needed the most. So understand also that it's not necessarily something that's waiting to happen. It's an activator. Understand, again, this is divine intelligence in motion, okay? So just like your oxygen fuels every part of your body, it's that Oya energy that's fueling your spirit. It's that one that is firing off messages to keep your body alive and alert, your nervous system, okay? Understand that when you feel that stirring, that sudden clarity, okay, you don't ignore it. You pay attention, or you should be, right? Especially in those moments when you have anxiety, panic attacks. And it's hard to do that, saying as somebody who has dealt with that. But when we are becoming aware of who we are and whose we are, when we are being able to understand how to work with the energy that is within us, we can move accordingly. We can move in a way that's for our better good and not in the way of destruction, which is so easy to do because of how swift and how powerful Oya comes in. It is a force of transformation, okay? That storm that's clearing the path, that breath of change, that movement. Again, we personify the Orisha for our own human understanding, but remember, within this practice, we know that it's so much more than that, okay? So when we are speaking again on, give me one second. So, okay. Just in general for us, it is important for melanated individuals to understand the aspect of Oya, simply because she teaches you to just breathe, literally to just take a breath. When we are able to be centered and intentional with our breath, we understand the vital nutrients that's occurring. Not just from a biomedical level, but a metaphysical one as well. We understand that due to environmental racism, generational trauma, and systematic stressors, that our sympathetic nervous system is literally already in chronic overdrive. It is the oxygen, clean air, deep breaths that are intentional that helps to regulate and start to begin that healing process. Melanin itself is a conductor of electricity and light, and oxygen is feeding into this electromagnetic process. So understand, again, it's not just the breath that you're taking. It's a commandment to reset and heal your DNA, the cells within you, especially because many melanated people suffer from either undiagnosed or untreated disorder and diseases to our body. And it's not because we're weak, it's because we are disconnected. And there's an important difference that we have to make. Choosing to connect, choosing to be intentional, choosing to tap into whatever is going with you to your greatest good. Starting with, I will always start with therapy, as well as seeing that primary. We will always start there. But even more than that, how are you taking care of your mind, body, soul? How are you meditating? How are you praying? How are you being in your own way? This is what's important when we are speaking about how to move. When I think of Oya, it's definitely move, bitch, get out the way. Because she knocking all that shit over. And it's better to be in the eye of the storm than not. My godmother referenced that to me earlier today when we were just talking about what it really means to move. Because again, it's crazy outside. But when shit is going on, you need to be where your help come from. Aligning with that, reclaiming that with pride, and starting with just a breath. So I want to make sure that when we are speaking and talking and understanding these conversations, we know that us melanated people, this is not just a regular conversation. It's ancestral, and it's so important that we have it because we have been so resilient. We have been so powerful, and we have literally been so dynamic as melanated people just by ourselves. We literally run the world. We bring it life, that culture, even our agricultural practices, especially in North America. Our ancestors did that shit. So in every industry, you know, it was us that was ruling that marketplace, making the transformation for generations to come. When you are understanding that change is necessary, when you are able to know that change needs to occur in your life, make sure that you are also praying for removal of any resistance that is getting in your way. Move, bitch. Get out the way. Even you, girl. Even you. Even you. Because it don't make sense coming and doing all these things, making all these offerings, doing all these rituals, and. But you not even actually getting up for yourself, making whatever practical change needs to be done, starting with fasting, removing vices if needed, including but not limited to alcohol, entertainment, even, some social media outlets. Spiritually, making sure that your prayer meditation are in alignment, that you're actually checking in with your spirit and know how to move, when to move. And checking in with, a priest to tap in to make sure that you are staying in alignment. And not only that, when you get those instructions, you aren't just doing what feels good. You're actually making the necessary changes. All of them. Not the ones that are convenient. Not the ones that you can just fit in your schedule. The changes that you literally call down for your greatest good to make, you have to align with it too. So again, when we speak about change and transformation, yes, we're going to talk about the forces that assist that. We're definitely going to talk about the forces, but we're also going to talk about you in the spirit of accountability. How are you holding up? How are you moving? How are you being accountable and responsible for your own transformation? This Oshe Oya, on this great start to kick off our ancestral season, is to really make sure that you understand that the Orisha that walk with you and live within you want nothing more than your greatest good to occur. But it is up to you to help make sure that is relevant, to help make sure that you are actually doing it, and to help make sure that you're not just wasting people's time and resources. Because you can say you want change all you want, but if you're not doing the changes, then what are you really doing? So be responsible for your transformation. Breathe through your transformation. Take a breath. Pray for peace. Pray for understanding. Pray for removal of resistance. And if you need help, tap into the resources that you have. Community is important, especially when things do seem too much. This isn't a time or season to be alone. Hell, we even doing our ancestor ritual together, okay, as a community, right? So I want you guys to really understand the power of what we're bringing in, the power of what your ancestors have already done, and the power that you have within yourself to make the necessary transformation within your life. My name is Reverend Priestess Osun Kemibi Ifa Kemi. I am a goddaughter of Reverend Priestess Osun Funke Iyanifa. I'm a root doctor, natural medicine doctoral candidate, alignment priestess, biomedical health scientist, and everything you need to get right, mind, body, and soul. Today, I have expressed some aspects of how to understand the energy of Oya in relation to our ancestors as you go throughout transformations within your everyday life.
Thank you so much for joining us. We will take a few moments to just answer any questions if you have any. Otherwise, there's a whole another section for tonight. We are going to finish out doing a beautiful ritual to the Orisha Oya and the ancestors. Anybody have any questions? Just go ahead and drop them in the comments. Reverend Priestess Osun Kemibi, that was a beautiful, beautiful talk.
Thank you, Em. And
Beautiful.
let me tell you, everybody who's in the ritual tonight, even if they're not in the ritual, they need to get in that prayer. Pray it the next 9 days, okay? Because you did that. Yeah, that was bringing in.
Yeah, when I was because I wrote it just before I did my talk, and when I tell you the heat that flushed over me and the hairs on the back of my neck, I was like, okay, Oya is in the building.
Are you saying that you had a quick transformation?
Absolutely. So, baby, grab that box too. So those who are in the community, I will make sure you get a copy of that. I'll make sure you get a copy of it. And you can pray that every Oya day, which Oya shares the day with Shango. And so every Oshe Shango, you can also pay homage to Oya. And you can call on her whenever you need to feel the winds of change in your house, in your head, in your life. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Also, if you were interested with anything that Priestess and I have said at all tonight, you can find more of our materials in the description below. There were several Orisha that were referenced between the both of us, and they can be found within the Get Your Life book, Fire and Flame, and From the Water to Your Water books, all written by Iyanifa, Reverend Priestess Osun Funke, and they are in the description. If you would like your spiritual checkup, ancestor life path reading, or any root work, all of my services and products are severely, severely discounted, like mad discounted. And those links are also in the description as well. I don't think anybody else has anything. We can just take it to the ritual.
Yep, take it back to the house. All right. I will see y'all on the other side. Love you like the river deep.
Until next time, peace like the river.
Nobody talks about you, then you are nobody.